Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining this mobile and cloud security webinar. We're just going to give it another 30 seconds to a minute to get everyone in. We've got a lot of sign-ups for this session, so you want to make sure everyone gets here for the start. So we'll just get started in about 30 seconds. Okay, good. I think we're good. I think we're good to go. So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Daniel Coughlin, and I'm Head of Marketing for Mobile and Hardware at Giacom. I'm excited to chair today's webinar with our panel of experts who will be introduced to shortly. Now, look, this session is all about you. So, we want to make sure it's interactive and you're getting lots from it. Your mics are muted, unfortunately, just to make sure that the line is super clear and we can hear everything. But you can ask lots of questions, and please do ask questions. Within the Teams function, you'll see a Q&A box. So, really encourage you to ask questions in there. We won't necessarily wait till the end to ask questions, so you can ask them straight away. As soon as I see questions pop up, I will start asking them to the panel, and you will try and get through as many of them as we can. Any questions we can't answer, we'll make sure that we follow up afterwards for you. The session is being recorded, and we will upload it to our website and to Knowledge Base afterwards, so you can rewatch it and share it with your teams. And we are using Copilot to transcribe the session as well, which might help you to take on board some of the information that we're sharing today. Just a quick intro into me. I'm not one of the experts here today. But mobile's been a passion of mine for a long time. My first real job, use the word real, was here in the Ipswich office back in the 90s when I worked in the warehouse and I was shipping phones out to our partners. Back then phones were just for calls and texts, and then eventually we had things like WAP that came along. Now, just while I'm here, I'll stop there just to make sure you can all access the Q&A session. I'm going to put a question in the chat now, and first one to get it right wins. What does WAP stand for? So if anyone remembers WAP, so I've just put it in. I'm going to wait like 10 seconds. It should be, I'm hoping you'll all instantly get onto it. I appreciate some of our younger audience members might not know. I've seen a couple of people put it in the comment section, which is fine. You can do that. So this is WAP. Yeah, we've got loads coming in now. A few different answers. It's not a song, but it could be. I can start writing the lyrics now. So WAP is Wireless Application Protocol. So that was kind of the first early adoption of having the internet or access to the internet on a phone, a device. It was basically for like checking the weather. I remember checking like football results on it. Very basic internet access. It reminded me a lot of teletext. So very text heavy, not many images. Took about a week for a page to load up. But look, fast forward to today, and smartphones have evolved to power almost every part of our lives and our businesses. The link between mobile devices and cloud-based apps is now more important than ever. This was initially, the growth of this initially probably happened around the pandemic. Yeah, but now it's being driven by always-on access to data, improved customer relationships, the need for remote and agile working, and the push to be more efficient. But with that critical role, these devices that we hold in our hands every day, there does come risk. Mobile devices carry sensitive data. They connect to essential systems. Yet too many businesses still lack the necessary protections in place. From complex and sophisticated attacks, which we've seen a lot of in the press recently. Now, I'm not suggesting any of those or some of those came from or originated from a mobile device, but we're hearing a lot more about this in the press, to just simple human error, like losing a device, sending the wrong email, sharing something with someone that you shouldn't do. You know, you go from anything sophisticated to just very, very simple. Mobile security cannot be overlooked. And that's why we're here today. You know, we're going to explore the solutions you can take to your customers, the key themes in mobile security, and how to guide your customers towards taking the right mobile security protection from you, and then that in turn will, you know, generate yourselves more revenue and more sticky customers. Just one more really quick one I'm going to put in the chat, then we'll meet our panelists. So has anyone lost their mobile device in the last 12 months? So I've just put that in the Q&A. So just give me a thumbs up on that question if you have. So I'll just put that in. Be interesting to know. There's a lot of us in here today, so I'm suspecting there's probably someone who's actually lost their phone today, which isn't me, but that could happen. So if anyone has lost their mobile device in the last 12 months, just give that a thumbs up. Yes, someone's just said that I've jinxed it. Yeah, no, look, just be careful with your phone today. But hopefully, if you lose it today, you'll know exactly what to do. You'll be speaking to James, speaking to Ricky and Harriet, and you'll fix it. Right, that's enough from me. So we have had lots of people, some yeses, some no, some never. Brett, that is not true. Everyone's lost the phone at least once. Right, let's meet our amazing panelists, the experts on this call. So I'm going to start by handing over to Harriet, who's going to do an intro for us.
Thank you, Dan. I'm not half as funny as you, so this is going to be quite, dull following that. But hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm the cybersecurity practice manager at Giacom. I've been with the business for just coming up to 3 years, and I lead our team of security specialists and product managers. And I'll hand over to Ricky.
Thanks, Harriet. Yeah, hi everyone. For those that don't know me, my name is Ricky Shock. I'm currently the head of the mobile services portfolio. Run up a small team of guys. You know, we're absolutely truly focused on mobile, the airtime, hardware, even IoT. It's all about that mobile connectivity. My experience spans from everything. 20 years ago, I was, on the phones, on help desk, taking day-to-day queries, and I've been through account management, commercials, retentions, and into product. I bring a wealth of experience, and hopefully you guys can get the most out of that today. And with that, I'll pass you over to James.
Thanks, Ricky. Good afternoon, everybody. As it says on the screen, I'm James Graves. I'm a modern workplace specialist here at Giacom. What that basically means is I live and breathe the Microsoft 365 stack day in, day out, and all the accompanying partners and portals that sit with that. So I'm bringing a bit of knowledge around Intune for you all today and how that integrates into the mobile security stack.
Thank you. Excellent. Harriet, Ricky and James. So just a reminder, you've had the intros and you've got the bios there on screen, so you know what type of questions you can ask. Like I said, so please do ask questions. We will be talking over the next half an hour to 45 minutes about this subject, and we'll have lots of different points to cover. But again, this session is driven by you, so please do feel free to ask any questions. Now, I'll just get us kick-started. I mentioned that question at the start about anyone losing their phone. So Harriet, we'll just start with you. So in my hand right now, I have my phone. It's got a 6-digit PIN code on it, which I believe there's 1 million different possible ways that number could possibly be used. So I leave this phone on a train. It's locked. Why do I need any mobile security on it?
Very good question, Dan. I think that there's 2 ways to think about securing your mobile, right? You've got the physical device, the actual mobile, and that's what you're PIN protecting. But then you're also looking at how you secure what's on that device, because most of that will be cloud hosted. And having a PIN on your phone is great, because if someone steals it, I mean, that's really inconvenient anyway, but you want to know that they can't then access that device. the sad truth is a pin will just slow someone down. It's not going to stop someone getting in. If a hacker wants to get into your device, they're gonna make their way in. But when it comes to securing what's on the device, that's what's more important. So think about, if you're accessing sensitive information on your phone, making sure you've got MFA set up, maybe not accessing the most sensitive stuff on your phone, save that for your laptop or your PC where you've got a greater protection through a network. But the real risks come with what's on the device as opposed to the device.
Okay, good. Well, that's a lesson for me. I will not leave my phone on a train. Absolutely not. It's less about the physical device, which we can replace. The phone could be insured. We can buy a new one. It's what's on it that's important. Once that's lost, we could be getting into some serious problems with legal and compliance. So, what do we believe are the biggest risks facing? The biggest risks customers face when mobile devices are left unsecure. So, what type of security risks are there?
So I think sometimes we think about mobile security as different to like your normal cybersecurity. And if you put like your laptop next to your phone and you looked at all of the things that are securing those devices, your PIN code is great on your phone, but you've got a password protecting your laptop. So that's kind of same. But on your laptop, you've probably got some sort of antivirus or endpoint. You probably access most of your documents via VPN. You're protected by the firewall that's, looking after your company network. You've got web filtering to stop you going on dodgy websites. So all of the risks that come with why you bought all of that stuff for your PC are exactly the same for your mobile. Our mobiles are they're kind of left to us, right? We can do a mixture of personal and work on those devices, but no one's really telling us, no one's setting those boundaries by saying you can't access these websites or that link looks suspicious, don't click it. So it's still the same risk. Ultimately, the risk is you're going to get breached and that's going to impact your business. But we don't think about laptops and mobiles as bringing the same risks. This sounds really dramatic, but we haven't had the first big mobile breach yet. And I can guarantee you it is coming soon.
Yes, well, we touched upon briefly at the start there about there's been a lot in the press recently in the news of a few big brands. I won't name them, not just in telecoms, but in retail as well. A lot of big brands have been hit recently. And, again, we're not suggesting that those breaches came from mobile, but they are happening. So we all need to make sure that everything's protected from the laptop to the smartphones as well. Now, we understand the need. We understand what can potentially happen, and there are real world risks here that are happening every single day. At Giacom, we sell mobile security. We sell security products and we sell mobile. So, Ricky, I'll come to you. What do you believe is the best way to position mobile and security together for SMB clients who perhaps think they're too small for this type of product?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of points in there, Dan. I think firstly we need to understand why people have probably positioned these separately before and not sort of associated the two as probably often as they should. I think there's probably a kind of a habit thinking or a legacy thinking historically, because it traditionally comms and the IT professional services have been quite split in the past. So I think first of all, it's really important that we get our customers on board with thinking that these things should go hand in hand together. And if we can get our partners to position that to their customers, it just helps them create simple to digest and easy access bundles. Bundling isn't just about convenience. It's about delivering like a real value to clients. So when you're providing things like airtime and traditional handsets, if you can put in that stronger integrated security, as opposed to it feeling like a bolt-on that can just be added and removed at random and as required, you're gonna be solving customers' problems before they even know about them by doing that. And I think, when it comes to people who think they are potentially too small to be targeted, realistically, no one's going to be too small. We're only just getting into the field of AI, and we don't know how AI threats could grow. They wouldn't be picky about who their target is. They just want to mass attack anyone and everyone. So again, it's all about just ensuring that everyone understands the importance of having the security and a valuable bundled built from scratch proposition, as opposed to a bit from here and a bit from there.
Yeah. So James, from your perspective, the product set that you look after, in particular, Intune, is probably the most intrinsic link between a mobile device and its airtime and the management from a cloud point of view. So, in terms of that bundling, can you expand on that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So really, when it comes to obviously looking at bringing something like Intune into the equation as well, we tend to find that there's kind of three core reasons that people are trying to obviously look at doing that, and it's mainly aimed around centralized device enrollment more than anything. So it's all well and good, you've got your device, it's sat on your table, brilliant. Okay, we know we need some security on it, but how do we manage that security? How do we manage that physical device? So having the ability to do a centralized device enrollment area is really, really important here. So you can enroll devices both on a corporate level, as in a corporately owned device, or on a bring your own device style setup there. You've also got things like policy enforcements and things like that, which come into the equation, which basically allow people to be able to dictate what the device can and cannot do. So you bring your devices in, you set them up to a manner which is the spec of the business, and then it kind of allows people to go away with, limited access to what they should have access to, and kind of nothing more outside of that in most instances.
Yeah. So you've touched upon hardware there. Would you say that mobile handsets are a overlooked component when businesses implement security policies?
Yeah, 100% they are. 100% they are. A lot of people, when they think of managing their devices and their infrastructure when it comes to IT, they very much focus on their assets such as laptops, desktop PCs, even more around IoT style devices now as well. But what often gets overlooked is the mobile devices aspect, as Harriet alluded to it earlier. You would put all these security solutions in place on these devices, and people don't tend to look at the mobile offering in the same manner. So it's essential as a part of that you're looking at your security setup around those mobile devices, as they have access to the same sort of data that your laptops and other infrastructure does.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we're seeing a lot of companies allow staff to bring their own devices to the workplace now. Not just mobile devices, but tablets as well. Is that proving a more tricky to kind of secure those as well? So devices that perhaps weren't bought by the actual business, but brought in by the employees?
Yeah, so the BYOD style setup that people talk about in there is one that's becoming more and more popular because people don't want to carry around multiple mobile phones. I personally use my own device for work purposes, etc. at Giacom, and it's one of those things where to start with it was very restrictive, but now it's a pretty free-flowing setup. I think you get hesitance from end users, but with a little bit of education and understanding, it is something that we are being able to come over more and more with end users to say this is why Intune's there, this is the purposes, and this is what it has access to. So it's important to remember that it only has access to corporate data and applications and nothing else outside of that.
Yeah. Okay. So look, we've touched on the hardware side a little bit, and Ricky did a great intro there on why we should bundle these products together. But Harriet, why do you believe most MSPs often sell these separately?
I think it goes back to what Ricky said. We've just, we've grown up in this industry where we've had pockets of people who do different things, and we're now in a position where we at Giacom have come together, experts and all of these different things, and we want to encourage the market to adopt the same kind of approach. Just because you've done mobile for 20 years doesn't mean you can't start adding security on it. And I spoke to a connectivity partner a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying he wants to, jump on the security bandwagon, but he doesn't want to tread on anyone's toes. But ultimately, if you don't tread on people's toes and advance your business, where's your business going to go? It's a bit dog eat dog, isn't it? I think it's so logical to wrap all these things together. And as MSPs and IT providers, they're all looking to increase their bottom line and become more profitable, because it is a very diluted, saturated market. By adding different things into your service wrap, that's the way you're going to achieve more revenue, more profit.
Yeah, and Dan, if I could just expand a little bit there as well. I think having worked across both direct and indirect spaces, I think another thing that can sort of encourage partners and resellers to sell these things separately is actually the end customer demand. I think certainly me personally, and I'm sure many more of us will admit, we're all guilty of sometimes just providing the customer with what they want based on what they tell us. I think everyone's got better with that over time, about understanding the pain points better and providing a solution. But sometimes when customers are coming to us saying, I just want you to give me this and what's your price for it, in some cases we've all been guilty of just giving them what they want. So I think that also is one of the key drivers as to why traditionally these products have been sold separately and why people are happy to buy them from different vendors. I think if resellers can get more into sort of bringing again the customer around to that way of thinking, that they don't need to do that, they might only need that right now, but actually if they take X, Y, and Z simultaneously, it creates a better value package overall with greater safety, a single relationship, one point of contact. It just adds value. So yeah, I think customer demand is definitely one of the reasons why a lot of people will have sold these separately in the past, and I think we've all got a job to try and get them round from doing that.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. And one of the questions I just wrote down here was about, the best way for MSPs or our partners to start talking to their customers about mobile and security. And you've touched upon a lot of that answer there. We appreciate Giacom's position in the market is we're selling, the ideas and the themes and the concepts to our partners, but then, the partners then have the harder job in many ways to go out to their customers and then actually start pitching these services and winning. And hopefully a lot of what we're talking about today, and look, I'm not from a marketing background, I'm not someone who likes to sell on fear, but sell on the positives. This is why you should have it. This is why it will benefit your business and make it more secure and efficient. Look, we spoke a lot about the bundling side of it and the products. If we were to sort of talk more sort of product solution level now, and kind of an open question, but I think we'll start, Harriet, with yourself. What would be your sort of top three components if we were building a mobile and security bundle?
Yeah, really good question, because it will kind of bring to life what we're trying to talk through today. I think Intune is a really, really cool piece of kit, and I think that does the job of making an MSP's life easy. So Intune would definitely be right up there. I'd look at some sort of security on the mobile device. So what's going to tell you when something doesn't quite look right? What software is going to sit in the device and kind of flag and go, oh, something weird's going on over here? And obviously wrap that in with the device itself and the airtime. And I think that makes a really nice package.
Yeah, so Intune, we'll do a deep dive on Intune with James in a second. But that second section there, the on-device security, as you said, when it's monitoring when something goes wrong, what type of products do we currently offer that would help partners with that, or help their customers with that?
So we have a really cool product from Bitdefender, which is literally just called Mobile Security. And if you think about that, what we used to always call it antivirus, and I think everyone can relate to what that means, or we call it now endpoint protection, but it's something sitting on the actual device looking for things going slightly wrong. So you might have logged in from somewhere different, or you might have clicked on a link and it's trying to download something. Having that protection on the device is really important. But yeah, Bitdefender, and it's so low cost as well. It's something that should just be on every device. But we also have something coming very soon, which is in with our development team at the moment. And that's with open text cybersecurity, and it's sort of like an MDR for mobile. And the best way to describe MDR is think about if you had someone employed to monitor outside your house, and they were going to send you a text when they can see someone, rustling in the bushes. That's the best way to think of MDR from like a software kind of angle. There's a room of people somewhere who are looking at your device, looking at the network, ready to tell you when something doesn't look right. But there's a mobile version of that coming very soon, which will be really cool.
Yeah, sounds great. And you mentioned the low cost, and almost this should be sold as standard almost. Why do you think we're not? Why do you think maybe some of our partners or some of the end customers are not taking it? Like, are we just not promoting it enough, or if it's not potentially a cost issue, what could be that barrier?
It's probably just lack of awareness of it. It goes back to what you said earlier about how an SMB doesn't really think that they're going to be the next target. But if you look at the data, it says exactly the opposite. So if you think about we have sales teams at Giacom, and throughout the month we're working on big chunky deals, but we also have a run rate of things coming in. The SMBs are the run rate for a cyber criminal. They're thinking, I just need to get a few SMBs here and there, and I'll go and work on my big target once a quarter, whatever it might be. It's actually because SMBs and the market don't think that they're a target, that makes them the perfect target, because they also don't have the money to spend on these things. So that's why something really low cost, just greater awareness, but also us at Giacom and you guys as the MSP or IT provider doing that due diligence and making sure that the market is protected.
Yeah, great. Now, the first product you mentioned in that bundle was Intune, a product that James will know a lot about, and I'm sure it offers a huge amount to our partners and the end customers. Could you just give us an overview, James, on what Intune does and how it can help MSPs manage and secure their customers' mobile devices?
Yeah, like you said, it's quite a vast product set, shall we say, with what sits in Intune. But to kind of sum it up a little bit for you, it's all around device management. So irrespective of what that device is, whether it's an iPhone, a iPad, an Android phone, or even your laptops that run Windows, etc., even Mac laptops and so on, it doesn't differentiate between those operating systems. All it's aimed around is managing the platform that's in front of you. So when we say managing the platform, what it's doing there is it can do everything from the operating system that it's running, what version of Android can it install up to, and what version is the minimum that's acceptable as a part of that. You can do protection policies and things where it will enforce and say you have to have this level of PIN, maybe a 10-digit PIN on the phone, as we mentioned earlier. With those types of devices, you can also be in the scenario where you put app protection policies in place, so you can dictate what applications can and can't be installed within that particular device as well. So you can get really, really restrictive on this. And it also comes with the ability that should you leave the device on the train, God forbid anybody does, you can remote wipe the device, you can lock the device, and it gives you a lot of flexibility there to prevent any potential data breaches as a consequence of that.
Great. How does Intune integrate with other?
Sorry, Dan, I think I maybe lost you there for a second.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Okay. My question was going to be around Intune and how it links to other products such as 365 or Teams or other products in that set.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, because Microsoft works from kind of like a single admin center, and it kind of all derives off like that and maps off from itself, it basically means that they're all talking to one another. So if you do end up using Microsoft security products like a Defender on the mobile devices and things like that, it does mean that they're all talking to one another, and as such you get all the telemetry of that. There's a really nice product known as Lighthouse by Microsoft, which any Microsoft partner gets access to free of charge. That allows you to manage multiple different customers' mobile devices all in a single portal. So you don't have to log into different portals to manage different non-compliant devices, for example. So there's a lot of integration, a lot of things that can talk to one another. And from a management perspective of an MSP, it makes things a lot more simple.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. And talking about the actual packages, what package does Intune, what level of the Office 365 packaging does Intune start to come in?
Yeah, so you can buy Intune as a standalone license on a per user or a per device basis. There's a couple of ways that can be licensed for those. And then you have it also integrated into your business premium, E3s and E5 style licensing as well. So there's a few different ways it can be licensed, but you'll tend to find a lot of people these days do start with and push business premium as their core license, and as a consequence, they get Intune automatically included within there. So even if you're not managing someone's IT infrastructure and you're only looking at the mobile aspect of it, a customer may be paying for Intune, and it's an opportunity for you to piggyback on the back of that, shall we say, and just look at management charges, etc., to build into that portfolio for them.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to ask a question, but we've had a question come in which is very similar to what I was going to ask, and so we'll have a mix of different partners on this call, MSPs, partners. Some will be selling cloud, some will be selling mobile, some will be selling both. So it's a question for Ricky and James here, really. So if we have mobile partners on the call who are not currently selling cloud, and just focusing this question on Intune, what's the best steps for them to start looking at this as a product that they should start selling? It seems like a very natural step if you're currently selling mobile, like a first step.
Do you want to start with that one, Ricky, or shall I take it there?
No, you go for it, mate.
No, that's fine. So I suppose from my perspective, looking at it from the, should we say, the IT and the software side of things, it's very much about getting your ducks in a row of what you're going to have, should we say, within your bundle. Again, going to market with a bundle is the best way of doing this, as we've been talking about there. So starting off with understanding your customers' existing IT infrastructure. Do they already have licensing in place? Something like a business premium, in which case that's the opportunity for you to piggyback on the back of that. The mobile comes into the equation, and then you can use Intune as a part of that, to kind of build on their existing licensing rather than upselling additional licensing requirements and things as a piece of that. So I think from a first point, understanding the management piece and what their existing licensing in play is, already tools that they've got, even from other third parties, that may be doing a similar job.
Yeah. Okay. So on that question, I really want to deep dive with Ricky on why any partners on the call who are not currently selling mobile, but perhaps currently are selling security, why that should be something they should seriously consider. But just before we get to there, Ricky, you're obviously, your background and what's on screen here, you've got that huge amount of experience in mobile, talking to our partners who are selling mobile successfully, based on what you've seen happen over the last 5 years, this growth of cloud and growth of security, what advice would you give to our mobile partners?
Yeah, good question, mate. I think it's really important now that people acknowledge that end customers are looking for more from all of the providers. People are looking to shorten that contact list in terms of vendors, which leave them open for you guys to take more of a wallet share if you're offering and expanding your portfolios for things that these customers want. One thing to really keep at the forefront of your mind is that MSPs and telcos who integrate mobile into the core services and alongside security and other software products, they're not just selling products. To the end customer, they're seen as enabling and driving digital transformation within their business. And when you take those steps, when you become more than just someone who's selling them something, things like that really drive loyalty and dependency from your customers, which is only ever ultimately going to lead to greater opportunities from them when they do come to spending more, expanding, the requirements in the IT and telecom spaces. I think that, you know, some of the biggest opportunities for resellers, you know, it's the obvious. It's the increased revenue share and the additional wallet share from the end customer that comes as a result of cross-selling. You know, you've got the likelihood of higher customer retention rates because integrated services and multiple service buy-in from single customers, it makes that customer stickier and again more dependent on you as a provider. And I think also, you know, if you can find the right vendor who can sell you this all in one place, then that in itself comes with operational efficiency, having single platforms for reduced admin overheads when provisioning and less support costs and things like that. So I think there's lots of opportunities for MSPs to step into, you know, selling both of these products together, and especially adding mobile if you're selling cloud, because listen, ultimately these customers already trust you. If you're their professional IT services provider, they already trust you, and you are selling them software that goes on these devices that they are buying from somebody else. You know, why just protect the devices and the endpoints when you can actually provide the devices and the connectivity that powers those devices? It just seems like it should just be a natural next step for anyone not already doing it. And, you know, from the customer's point of view, they get the unified experience from the provider. They get the enhanced security of taking an integrated solution like I touched on before, as opposed to buying bits separately and so on. And they also get, you know, the benefit of business agility and readiness. It just means when they bring new members of staff on, and when their business grows, that they can do faster onboarding of new staff, you know, getting the devices and laptops and phones all pre-configured from from the same provider right out of the box as a single solution, and and a single monthly budgetable fee.
Yeah, no, that's some of the, you touched upon some really interesting themes there, Ricky, and the word that I wrote down there is trust. You know, that's a big area for us when we're going out to our partners and our MSPs about expanding their product sets. You know, hopefully a lot of the people on the call would have seen with a stat that we've thrown around quite a lot over the last year is upwards of 70% of SMBs still buy their mobile directly from the networks. Now, look, we're not here to bash the networks. We're good friends with the networks, but I think they would openly admit themselves that, you know, they wouldn't be as good as yourselves as looking after a SMB customer. You know, everything
can I just correct you a little bit, Dan? You used to be 70%. It's about 69 or 68% now, because
it's gone down.
Ultimately, us and our partners have done a great job of trying to get our foot in the door there.
Yeah, good.
So, you know, I think it's that in itself proves something, right? Because it was 70% a couple of years ago, and now it's like 69, 68. It shows that with the right messaging and the right approach, that our partners can win that businesses from the networks direct. You know, I think some partners might be apprehensive when going up against the big four MNOs, and it can be quite difficult to win some of these deals, but it's possible. Right, we can get these. You know, customers see the value in the personal service that resellers are offering, and we are in a position now where we can genuinely take that business from them with the right approach and the right proposition and the right service stack. So, you know, it's a really viable point, that Dan, that there's a huge opportunity to go at, and we're already proving that partners can win in that space.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, I've just had a live update. It's gone down to 67%. No, so Harry, based on that example, we know our MSPs and our partners will have a base of customers, upwards of potentially 70% of them are buying mobile from the networks directly, and bundling in that security package as well. You know, so what actionable steps do you think the MSPs and partners on the call can take right now to strengthen their mobile and security offering?
Oh, that one's caught me right off guard.
Yeah.
I would think that when we are trying to encourage MSPs to take new services to market, we're kind of like trying to move away from like, here's your shopping list, here's what you need to go and get from your customer, and more think about it as, what is the SMB trying to achieve? And we've got lots of data from Analysis Mason that will tell you that SMBs want a new MSP or IT provider because their existing one isn't, in line with what they want to achieve. They're not proactive. So as the audience on this call, you can go and be proactive and speak to your customers and be like, all right, what's your 3-5 year plan? Where does technology come into it? How can we help you with it? And within there's going to be cybersecurity, because that's like fear number one of everyone in the world. And that's a perfect opportunity to be like, okay, we see you're buying X, Y, and Z from us at the moment. Let's talk about how we secure those to get started with, and then we can open up. In the same breath, they're all going to be using mobile devices. So, okay, how do we help you, streamline that contract, or wrap, how can we offer you a wrap service around that? So we take away the management of it, for example. You can be quite creative with it. It's just about aligning to what your customer wants instead of assuming.
Yeah, and James, from your perspective, what do we need to do to get your phone ringing, to get more partners selling Intune to their customers? What takeaways can our partners take?
I think the big thing is just asking the right questions. I think more often than not, people have Intune, don't know what it is, don't know why it's there, don't really know where to lead the conversation on with Intune, shall we say. I would say rely heavily on us as a resource. We have the ability to demo this. You have the ability to access, demo environments for Intune and things. You can go in there, you can play with it. No, you're not going to break anything, and roll a device in it, all those good things that you can do as a part of that. So I would very much say that, Intune has a lot of capabilities when it comes to device management. No question's a silly question when it comes to it. So I'd very much encourage you to engage with the practice teams at Giacom, and look to utilize us and get us in front of your customers to discuss it further.
Yeah, great. We just had a question, probably more of a statement as well, but it's definitely worth sharing in case anyone's not seeing the kind of the questions coming in. So Jamie has given some advice on helping. I'm kind of paraphrasing it or kind of rewording it slightly, but giving your customers or helping your customers to qualify for cyber essentials would be a great way to start this discussion. Getting them to understand the threats, and then maybe you could start to lead in from there with the product sets that were spoken about as well. So that's a really good idea, and it will be something that's on your customers' minds, especially with everything that's happened recently. We've got Harriet's been doing an amazing job in the background answering all the questions. So, but we'll make sure all the questions are shared so you can see them all. I'll just grab a couple now. So we've talked a lot about mobile devices, and Ricky's touched on the airtime in the device, and Harriet and James have touched on some of the security products. But what about IoT devices? Where does that fit into this world? Who should I throw that hot potato to? Yeah,
Everyone's
I have a really good one.
Yeah.
IoT, it's like the forgotten vulnerability. And there was a really cool story about, I think it was a casino, and the casino was breached through an IoT device, which was like a thermometer in the fish tank. And I'm not selling this story very well. It's much better when someone who actually knows what happened tells it. But IoT, we're about to do loads of content on how to secure your IoT devices, so keep an eye out for it. But yeah, your Ring doorbell, everything's a risk.
Well, I hope our partners have seen again over the last. Well, we launched our own IoT product last July, which is smart mobile data, and we're seeing some great, real good growth on that product. So it's something that's very close to us. So that's a topic that we'll definitely expand on. We've got a few questions coming into the chat about the cost of products, which that's something we'll definitely follow up with you all on. So don't worry about that. We'll make sure you get access to everything in terms of costings. In terms of training and support, maybe on mobile, Ricky, how, again, that reverse side of it, MSPs, partners already selling cloud and MDM services and a bit nervous perhaps moving into that mobile space and selling that airtime, what support is there for them?
Yeah, great question, mate. We've recently spent the last probably 18 months and finalized it round about 4 or 5 months ago. We've been working on introducing a dedicated enablement team, mobile enablement team. We have two guys, Will McMurtry and Darren Coventry. They used to be on our sales team. They gained great relationships with their partners. They were brilliant all rounders, not just in selling but in service as well. And we noticed the value that they were adding to the partners with additional time that they were spending with them. So what we essentially did was we worked with those guys to create a module within our what we call a partner success program, which is built of lots of different things, providing collateral and marketing content to partners who may not have those types of resources, providing educational tools and documentation. But for those guys specifically on the enablement team, we come up with kind of an educational module, almost like a mobile crash course, if you will, that partners can get through in their own time. We've had some partners get through it in just a couple of days. We've had some partners sort of take the time with it, have the guys come in, spend time with them and take, 2-3 weeks going through different bits on different days. But we've literally got dedicated resource. Not only have we got some of the most experienced account managers, in the marketplace that, we've got these guys specifically dedicated to make sure that you're confident in the conversations you're having around mobile, IoT, and those types of services. And it might be worth as well. Sort of, I noticed one of the questions on here was from Mark Fretwell. And he wanted to focus a little bit more on what kind of expertise and support we can offer for those around the license side of it. So I think I've covered what we can do for those partners in the mobile space and to get people up to speed with having those great conversations in mobile. But I'll probably throw it over the fence a bit to James now and just see what he's got there as well to add to that we could bring in and show that we're covering both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I've just actually answered Mac's question in the chat as well, but to kind of expand on it a little bit there. So yeah, like I said, we do have a cloud practice team at Giacom in the modern workplace, which is myself and a few of our colleagues. And as I said before, we do have the ability to, demo Intune for you, show you how an Android device is enrolled into there, the kind of the capabilities that come with that and what you can and can't do within there, whether that be bring your own device or a fully managed corporate device style setup. Alongside that, Microsoft have their own full learn path with an industry recognized certification and things at the end of it as well, which you can obviously choose to go down. So there's plenty of resources there in terms of learning how to use Intune and also, getting practical with it as well. There's developer environments and things to support that.
Yeah, thanks, James. And just Dan, just to re-add to that as well, onto my point, one thing I think is really worth mentioning. We've not focused too much on individual products within mobile because obviously we wanted to help people understand more around the threats and the security side of this. But I think one thing worth shouting out is as you know, we've got a specific MSP mobile proposition in the works at the moment. Essentially what we've done as a business is we've listened to all the feedback from our cloud partners and their concerns and their hesitations around getting into mobile. A lot of it was around the complexity of overage billing and the risk of bill shock to end users, the fact that it's difficult to sell a sort of per user or package up a per user management fee when there's risk of additional costs from roaming and from non-geographical calls and things like that. Everyone should be aware and everyone should certainly keep their eye on the marketplace because we've literally gone back to the drawing board with mobile airtime. And we're absolutely working towards a package that will fully align and almost feel like you're buying a license, that kind of fixed fee approach. Certain products will do certain things. You'll have to upgrade it to get more things. It's very in line with what a more traditional IT provider would sell as opposed to a more traditional comms and mobile provider. So yeah, guys, everyone just keep your eyes peeled for that as we make some progress on it. And we'll look to get more about that in the marketplace as we progress with it.
Lucky dropping huge of information on the end of a webinar there. We're going to have to just have a whole nother webinar about that. But excellent. I'm just conscious that two things. We need to wrap up. I want to give Harriet 20 to 30 seconds, just one last summary from yourself, and then I will do the wrap up. So Harriet, over to you.
Summarize a webinar?
Just summarize your thoughts on this. Thoughts. Yeah.
My thoughts are, if you're selling one and not the other, you're leaving money on the table. I think we're at a turning point in the market where you have to shift and you have to adapt and you have to get your head around new things, because the market is moving very, very fast. But that doesn't mean you're expected to know everything about everything. That's why people like Giacom and the vendors we work with are invaluable to you. 20 seconds late, it's gone, isn't it? But that was perfect. Yeah. We're happy to support end-to-end demos and user engagement. You tell us what you need, we can make it happen. Yeah, that was the perfect summary. Thank you very much. Mobile and security are stronger together, I think, is what we're saying there. That's brilliant. We've had a few questions come in. So John, there's two Johns actually. One with an H and one with not. So we'll get back to you on your questions as soon as we can. So apologies for having response to. They have been seen. So look, a big thank you to everyone for taking the time to join this webinar and asking questions to our panel. We do really appreciate your time. I do like to give credits for webinars, just so you know, in this world of AI, that there's a really talented team here at Giacom who play an important role in making this all happen. So, of course, big thank you to Harriet, Ricky, and James today for sharing all your knowledge and experience with our partners. So thank you very much. Planning and comms and content for this webinar was provided by Karina and Chelsea, and the slide designs were provided by Emma. Emma is an amazing designer, by the way. She will do. There's only like two slides on this presentation, but she still gets a shout out anyway. So next step. So first of all, make sure you follow Giacom on LinkedIn, and feel free to connect into us as well today if you want to find out some more information. Go back to your teams, your offices, and discuss and learn and discuss what you've learned today, and how you can potentially start to bundle mobile and security together. We will be sending a follow-up email with the opportunity for you to book a follow-up call with a expert. We will be releasing a blog as well, some light reading for you. So keep an eye out for that. And alternatively, look, when you're ready to pick up the phone, just speak to Giacom. As Harriet mentioned, we've got a great team on here, like those on the call today. A great team in sales and account as well, who are here to help. But other than that, thank you for everyone, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you very much.